Now this hostel's goal is not just to give people a cheap place to stay in San Francisco, but is to connect people from all around the world who are trying to travel on a budget by providing them a hostel that builds friendships through its great community and giving their guests tips so they can travel around the city and see some really awesome things for either free or really cheaply.
Hey everyone, would you like travel bloggers to come talk about your hostel like this? In this video, I'll show you how I managed to get Tristan Kuhn to stay at Pacific Tradewinds Hostel back in 2019. As I mentioned in last week's video, I'm in Louisiana this week helping with the cleanup and rebuilding after Hurricane Ida. Since I didn't have time to make a video this week, I found a previously unpublished video from 2019 when I was going through all of the planning of inviting Tristan to come stay at my hostel. I hope you like it. So, should you give away free stays to YouTubers? That's what I wanted to talk to you about today, and actually invite you to watch as I offer a little-known YouTuber an opportunity to stay in our hostel for free and pay for his airfare. Hey everyone, Darren from hostelmanagement.com. I know, that's right, I'm going to offer a free airline ticket from Austin to San Francisco and back again for a YouTuber, and you'll see how that unfolds later in this video. So providing free stays to YouTubers is a bit controversial, and there's a lot of disagreement among hostel owners and hotel owners about whether or not it should be encouraged or even allowed. At our last unconference in Tbilisi, Georgia, we had a topic that was social media influencers, a necessity or the plague. And it was interesting to see the responses from a number of hostel owners there. I would say that hostel owners were about 50-50 split on whether or not they would actually give a blogger or a vlogger a free stay in their hostel. So to the ones who would not give a free stay to a vlogger, I asked them if they would give a free stay to a guidebook writer in days past. And they said, absolutely, we would always give free stays to guidebook writers. So for me, that's the point. Vloggers and bloggers are the guidebook writers of today. So 27 years ago when I started my hostel, there was a handful of guidebooks, and if you could get listed in just a few of those, you were set. Hostels were literally, lived and died by their presence in a guidebook. Also, travelers' attention was only on those guidebooks. You had a half a dozen guidebooks that were the big guidebooks, and that's really, most of the travelers were looking at those guidebooks. Now, travelers' attention is divided among hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of websites out there that are vying for their attention. There are some people who actually rise to the top, and they actually seem to have good followings of viewers or readers. And those are the people that we want to host in our hostel. So in another video, if you're interested, I'll go over how we actually screen social media influencers, because we get a lot of requests to stay and not very many of them do we approve. In actuality, even the ones that we don't approve are providing an SEO benefit to our hostel, because they're looking on our hostel website and finding out the terms of which we would actually provide a free stay. So let me tell you about Tristan. Tristan did a collab with Mark Wolters of Wolters World. Now, Walter has over 500,000 subscribers. Now, I would love to have a YouTuber with that many subscribers come to my hostel, but usually when they get over a certain size, it takes a lot to actually encourage them to come. But because he did this collab, Tristan only had 397 subscribers when I actually looked at it, and within a day he had over 600. I actually think that he's going somewhere. He's done a lot of content about hostels already, and he really seems to understand what hostels are all about. So this is the YouTube video where I first became aware of Tristan on Mark Wolters' YouTube channel. And as you see, Mark Wolters has 540,000 YouTube subscribers. So basically they did this collab of the do's and don'ts in hostels, things that you shouldn't never do in a hostel. And a lot of them were really spot on. Mark himself has actually stayed in a lot of hostels before, although he stays in them less so now as he's gotten older. So in the description of this one, Mark says, follow Tristan. So I went over to Tristan's YouTube channel and I actually started following him. Alexa, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I went over to Tristan's channel, and as I said, when I first looked at it, he had like 397 subscribers. And within the course of a day, he had over 600, and then a day later, he has 696. So I actually happened to look at this video that he had, what type of hostel is right for you. And again, he really did a good job categorizing all of the different types of hostels that are out there. We all know them because we're in the industry, but for someone who's a newcomer to the hostel industry, this information is invaluable. So I'm going to try to email him and see what he says. So in his channel description, if I click over here on his name, come over here to About, there's this little area for most YouTubers. It says for business inquiries. Now, when I see this on Mark's, I'm like, yikes, there's no way that he's going to respond to me. Maybe I should try. And but for Tristan, I felt like, okay, let me give this a try. So you just click on this area right here and it will reveal the email address for Tristan. You have to actually prove that you're not a robot. And you can do this on your own too if you ever want to contact Tristan. Now I'm going to actually compose an email to actually have him come to the hostel, see what he says. Okay, so this is the email I just sent to Tristan. I let him know that I saw him on Mark's channel, and I told him a little bit about myself and how long I've been involved in the hostel industry, and that I operate Pacific Tradewinds Hostel in San Francisco. And I actually said, crazy idea, but I'm wondering if you would be interested in coming to San Francisco and I would pay for your airfare. So we'll see what he says. So I just heard back from Tristan and he basically said, hell yes. So he's going to come to San Francisco. He did say in his email that he wants to keep his videos authentic and genuine as possible, and I really respect that. What I'm not looking for is someone who's just kind of doing a generic, awkward advertisement for my hostel. What I'm really looking for is organic content where it actually shows what his experience in the hostel is. So I actually presented this email now back to him and really kind of explain that like I'm really giving him total editorial control, and we'll see what comes out from it. It looks like my total expense is going to be about $176 to fly him round trip from Austin, Texas to San Francisco. And really, if I think about it, $176 if he does a good video is not that much when it comes to actually paying for marketing expenses. So I look forward to seeing what he actually produces, and we're actually going to have a call at some point so we can actually discuss some of this together and make sure that indeed it's going to be the right fit for both of us. So that's scheduled for a day or so from now. As you can see, I never really finished that video, but after Tristan stayed, I had planned to recreate the Skype call and buy the tickets, etc., etc. But when I decided to invite him, he only had 395 subscribers on YouTube. All in all, he made 4 videos in and around my hostel in San Francisco. And now he has over 13,000 subscribers and growing. Those videos have been viewed more than 3,000 times, and in my mind, this was very well worth the $175 it cost me to fly him to San Francisco. And the rewards should keep growing for ITH Pacific Tradewinds, because the more subscribers Tristan gets, the more likely his fans will binge watch his earlier videos. I know I've done that with a lot of YouTubers. I discover them later in their career, and then I go back and watch their earlier videos. So what do you guys think about this? Was I crazy for paying for Tristan's flight? Would you ever do something like this? Would you ever give a vlogger a free stay? Let's talk about it in the comments. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thanks a lot.